Okay guys, and welcome back. This lecture is all about ad groups, and I will run you through from start to finish how to set up an ad. I'm going to run a traffic ad in this one, but I'll show you how to set up the other ad objectives in the next series of lectures. Okay, so let's select traffic ad and then scroll down. The first thing we need to do is set up a campaign name. Now, this is the main name that you will use as a reference for this ad campaign, and it's important you name all of your ads clearly to stop you getting confused with other ads that you run. So I'm just going to name this one traffic ad number 1. Now, the next options you have are split testing, budget optimization, and set a campaign budget. Now, I'm not going to run split testing ads. Split tests are where you have different ad groups and different audiences within a campaign. So you can run ads to multiple different people within one campaign. But I'm not going to do a split test, so I can leave this one here. And the next one is only applicable if you run split tests, as what this will do is basically optimize for the best audience. So if you have a split test ad with 3 different audiences, and one of those audiences performs better than the other 2, if you select this campaign budget optimization tab here, what it will do is put more money into the better performing ads and reduce the amount you spend for the other 2 ads that aren't performing so well. Okay, next is the campaign budget. If you have an idea in mind as to how much you want to spend in total for this ad, click this and insert it here. For instance, I want to spend a total of £200 for this ad across its lifetime. So I'm going to select a lifetime and then insert £200. You can also do a daily spend, for instance. I might want to spend £50 a day, so you could do that if you wanted to. The choice is yours. Okay, so once that's done, click continue. So first of all is the ad group name. Now, if you're running multiple ad groups, it's essential you make it clear which one is which. So for this traffic ad, I know I'm going to target people in the UK and Ireland, and I want them to be interested in education and social media. And I'm going to target 18 to 54 year olds. So for the name, I'm going to put UK, IRE, Edu for education, social, and then 18 to 54. The next step is choosing your promotion type. I want to get traffic from my website, so I'm going to leave this one ticked here. But if you had an app, you could select this one instead. Next, we have placements. Now, this does differ slightly between ad objectives. So for the traffic ad, you always want to make sure you click on select placement. And then you get this drop down here. You want to make sure only TikTok is selected. I'm not actually too sure what these other apps are, but they are irrelevant to me, so I don't want to be using them. The majority of you won't need to use them either, so get rid of those. And then below you have a few more options, including user comment, video downloading, and video sharing. We want to keep all of these ticked as they are. This basically means our ad is free and open to anyone to engage with it. So we are allowing people to comment, share, or even download our content if they want to. This is fine. We want to do this. Keep your content as free and open as possible. Now, the next thing we come across is the creative type. And below we have the option to select creative ad optimization. But what is this? Well, here you can get TikTok to create multiple combinations of creative assets, including videos and ad text. Ad delivery will be automated to show your audience the combinations that can maximize your results. So for instance, you write certain ad copy, and so you write some text, and TikTok figures that maybe some different text might work better. And when you define different text, as you can write multiple ad copies for each ad, TikTok will then do the following. They will pick the ad that delivers the best results and run this more often and put more of your budget into this ad. So if you run multiple ads, when these are all running and one gets better results than the others, TikTok will prioritize this one and push this one more so than the other ones. So it will shift the majority of the money to the better performing ad, so you get the best results. This is super useful, and if you're running multiple ads with different texts and creatives, you definitely want to choose this. But if you're only running one ad, or if you're not interested, then of course don't tick this. But in my case, I'm going to turn it on. So next up is targeting. You have the choice here to do custom targeting or automatic targeting. I always recommend using custom targeting, as it gives you the most amount of choice and options. Automatic just means that TikTok will create one automatically for you, and it won't give you any flexibility or say in the matter. So I would stay away from this all the time. Okay, so next is demographics. Now what you select here is where your ads will be shown. Now I plan on only showing my ads to my country, which is the United Kingdom, and I also want to target Ireland. But if you wanted to pick the United States, Canada and Mexico, if this is where your customers are, then you can select them here. I only teach in English, so for languages I'm just going to select English here. I would never leave this on all, as it may end up showing your ad to someone who doesn't understand your language, and it would be a total waste of money. So make sure you always select the language you are in. Okay, next is gender. If you run a business that only sells stuff to males, you can select that. Or if it was only females, you can select that too. But I target both males and females, so I'm going to keep it on all. And here is where you define the age groups of people you want to target. Now, you may already have your target customer down to a T, but some of you may not know the best ages to target yet. Here, you can experiment with different ads and different age groups. But I know my social media courses target people between the ages of 18 and 55. So I'm going to select all of these age groups here. Now I would make sure to untick the 13 to 17 year olds, as they're quite young and most of the time they won't have the money or the buying intent at that age. So untick that, they're irrelevant. Now unless you're selling foods that contain high fats and sugar, you could ignore this HFSX box here. But if you are selling foods with high fat and sugar, make sure you tick it. Now below here is household income, and you can see that these are all based on the zip codes in the US. So as I'm advertising in the UK and Ireland, and we don't use zip codes here, this does not have any relevance to me yet. But I know TikTok will be rolling this feature out to more countries, including the UK soon. So this is basically where you can target different levels of income. For instance, if you're selling a really expensive course or like investment advice, you would probably target the top 10 to 25% and the top 5% of households, as you will want to be targeting people with a high income household. But if you're like a beauty brand or a clothing brand with reasonable prices, you don't need to select any of these. Only select these if you're selling a high ticket item. A high ticket item is something with a big price tag. Okay, so next we get to audience. Now, if you have previously run ads and saved the audiences, you will have the option to add them here. You will also see that you can also include lookalike audiences, which is basically a template audience that TikTok will have created that looks like an audience you've created in the past, which is super helpful in expanding your reach, but you only get this option once you've run a few ads. You can of course also exclude specific audiences here if you wanted to. So next we have interests and behaviours. This is where you can really nail down your target niche. Here is where you can include all of the relevant interests of people you are trying to target. This is how you can really target a very specific audience and make sure your ads are in front of the right people. Now, I sell online social media courses, and most of my customers use social media, and a lot of them are social media marketers. So I will probably use the following interests: social media ads, social media marketing, YouTube, Instagram app, Facebook advertising, digital marketing services, marketing digital, digital marketing expert, and digital marketing courses. So that basically covers all of my bases. It covers everything to do with social media, including Instagram and YouTube and Facebook, and also digital marketing and courses. That's a really good selection of interests relevant to my niche. Finding interests related to your audience is one of the most important things. So what you'll need to do before you run an ad, if you haven't already done this, you need to note down on a piece of paper a list of all the typical interests that are related to your product or niche and your typical customer. The more relevant you get them, the better your ads will perform. So what does your typical customer like? What would they be interested in? You can see I've heavily targeted mine around social media and selected anyone 18 to 55 years old. Let's say if you had a protein business, you could skew this heavily towards health and fitness, and all of the interests would be related to that niche. This is super important that you target the right audience. So really take some time to nail these interests and behaviors down and experiment with them. Okay, so next up is video interactions. So here is where you can choose to target people who are more likely to interact with your ad video by watching it to the end, liking it, commenting on it, or sharing it. So TikTok will target people who have recently liked, commented on, or shared ads or content within a particular niche. Now in this section, you don't get as much leeway for interests here. I can only select education. I don't have the option to select social media or Instagram, for example. So as I am in the education niche, I will select that. Next, you'll see 7 days and 15 days. This is basically when your audience last engaged with videos or ads in your niche. Now, I always click on 7 days as this is the most engaged audience and they will have made interactions most recently. 15 days is a bit too long for me. So yeah, I always click 7. Now, as I'm just interested in traffic to my website, I'm only going to select watch till the end and shared on here. I'm not too bothered about likes and comments on this post. I only really want traffic. So the next one is following interactions. Again, similar to last time, you can target people who are more likely to follow you and view your profile. This is great. These are super useful for reach ads and community interaction ads, where you intend on building your follower base. But as I'm only bothered about website traffic, I'm only going to select the viewed profile option here. Other ad objectives would require you to select both, but don't worry, I'll go through these in the next lectures. Okay, so lastly, we have hashtags. This is where TikTok can target people who have interacted with specific hashtags. This is super cool. So you can select hashtags that are relevant to your niche, that you think your audience will have interacted with. So for mine, I'm going to use the hashtags digital marketing tips, digital marketing agency, social media strategy, social media manager life, and social media marketing tips. Basically, I'm using these because I sell social media courses. So if people have interacted with or clicked on these hashtags before, there's a very good chance that these are the people who will be interested in my course. So I want to target them. Now, next we have device. Here you can choose to target specific devices, OS versions, device models, connection types, or carriers. Now, if you release an app only for new iPhones, then you can use this section and target them here. Or if you use a certain technology only suited to Android, you can target them here. But for most people, this stuff really does not matter. I, for one, am going to leave this, as I want to target everyone, regardless of their phone. So down here, we then have budget and schedule. This is where you can decide how much you want to spend per day or across the whole ad. For example, I'm going to put £50 per day. Next is schedule. So you can either choose to run them in a specific time frame, for example, for 1 week only, or you can choose to run them continuously. You can also choose when this ad goes live if you wanted to. Day parting here gives you the option to decide when your ads are shown during the day. You can either have them running on all day, or you can click this and then select different parts of the day to run them. For example, if you only wanted them running during the day and not at night, then you can select them here. Okay, so last but not least, we have bidding and optimization. This is where you can select your bid strategy. This is where you can decide on how much is spent on your ad. Now, our objective on this ad is clicks to our website, traffic. So that's what we ultimately want to be paying for. Here, I can either select the lowest cost, where we would get the lowest possible cost per click, which is what most people want, or I can select the bid cap option. Now, this basically gives me the option to select how much I want to spend per click. So for example, if you have a high ticket item, I could say, I want to spend £10 per click, which means I'm only targeting strong, expensive customers. And because my product sells, let's say £150 per item, that £10 per click is still very profitable for me. However, if I was selling a course for, let's say, £15 each, then I'd want the lowest cost possible per click. So I hope this makes sense, guys. I would usually always select lowest cost, but if you have a high ticket item, then you can select your cost per click if you wanted to. Now, when selecting the bid cap option, you also have the opportunity to select 2 different delivery types. Now, this is basically where you have the choice to get decent results as fast as possible and where TikTok will spend your money as quickly as possible, or you can just have it run normally, where TikTok will spend your money and run this ad at a normal rate. So if you were in a rush and needed results quickly, then choose accelerated. But if you want to run this ad normally, then just keep this on standard. But don't forget, you can only choose this option if you choose bid cut first. Okay guys, that's it for this lecture. I hope you've learned a lot, and I will see you in the next one.